What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So, as most of you know, those of you that have been with the channel, I was incarcerated for 24 years straight. My last term. Prior to that, I had been out 5 months from doing 3 years in the California Youth Authority. When I'm in conversation with people or people that know how much time I've done, a lot of times they always say the same thing. I couldn't have did that. I couldn't have did 24 years. I couldn't have did 20 years, right? And then I see in the comments people that say the same thing. You know, I couldn't have survived. Or they'll say, look, I did time, and they'll name whatever state it is or state it was where they did time. And they'll say, I couldn't have survived California. And I always tell everybody the same thing, man. First of all, self-preservation is so much stronger than you think. The will to survive, the will to keep on breathing and living, even though behind those walls there is no living, you're just in existence. You're similar to a ghost. But anyways, today's video, I wanted to talk about that. Have no doubt, I don't believe there's any state in the nation that's as treacherous as California. I know that I've never been in any other state, but I know the politics of California. There are pros and cons to the politics of California, but I think if anyone else had to live under California politics, I think they would appreciate the pros. For those that say, oh, wow, I'm a square. Well, when you get to prison in California, you got to pick something. And when you're in the county jail, you will have, no matter what you are, you will have people pull you to the side and start lacing you up, start schooling you, letting you know a little about the system. Hopefully, and this is all, hypothetical, but hopefully in this hypothetical situation, you're not around a bunch of guys like Wes Watson who are going to lie to you and then get thrills out of lying to you and scaring you, right? You would hopefully learn a lesson in the county jail, the beginnings of keep your mouth shut, keep your nose out of anyone else's business, and stand up for yourself. In California, that's basically what you need to do. You're going to pick a side, whether you're a white, you're another, you're black, you're going to run with the Southerners, going to run with the Northerners, Bulldogs, whatever it is. You'll figure it out by the time you're in the county jail. Before you hit the state, when you get to the state, they will house you according to who you identify. Now, being a square, you're going to say, whoever it is you choose to run with, right? You're going to be housed with someone of that group, that ethnicity, whatever it is. And then the games begin. There are some groups in the California prison system who, I don't like to use the term have it easier, but when it comes to politicking, they do. Every group behind the walls in California prisons, politics. The politicking is different for each faction, each group, each ethnicity. I think it's common knowledge that the Mexicans and the whites play the hardest politics. in the California Department of Corrections, but don't get that confused that blacks don't have politics, because they do. Um, Me being Mexican, I can't. I'm confused at times, even after all those years. I was still confused at times by the politics of the blacks as far as how fractionalized they were. Um, but that's, for 16 Alive or Hoodie from the Hood, or what's his name? Cartoon. Cartoon. They can probably get into that, and I think it would be a good video for any of them. When you get into the prison system, California Department of Corrections, see, people have this idea that if you are a resident is somebody who grew up out there and maybe lived in a neighborhood but never gangbanged. People have this idea that if you're a resident or you're from out of state and you come to the California Department of Corrections, that you're going to have it rougher. But the politics dictate that everyone is equal. Whatever faction you choose to run with, you are equal. Are there going to be people there that have authority? Are there going to be legends? There's now the legends are on the yard. You are not equal to them, but you are equal to everyone else, and you will be treated as such unless you bring attention to yourself, negative attention to yourself, and someone feels that the attention that you brought needs some correcting. Again, when it comes to discipline, each faction is different. Each group is different in how they want to discipline their people. Some are more violent than others just on discipline. You may wind up with holes in your body just on discipline. Doesn't mean you're no good. Just that's how a certain group disciplines their people. It's the coldest heart check there is. I hear in Florida they do heart checks where you might have to get down with 3, 4, 5 dudes back to back to back, and that's a heart check. And I guess, when people first get there, that's what they're trying to do. But out here, there's a certain group that if they want to see your heart and you've put them in the position to check it, you will get 2 dudes jumping on you with knives, and it's up to God whether you survive that, and then it's up to you whether you keep functioning like that. Gambling, drug addiction, alcohol abuse, and gossip. Those are the main ways to get caught up very fast in very violent outcomes. If you cannot maintain yourself under alcohol, you will get in a wreck very fast. If you are a pig, as far as your drug habit, you get fronted beyond your means. You go running around trying to, cop dope from everybody. I know in my experience, there were dudes that would, run up debts and then PC up. And in my experience, it was because of a lack of communication that individuals were able to do that. See, like me, I would tell the other dope dealers, the Southerners, like, hey, Holmes, just so you know, this vato owes me. Because my limit with mostly everybody was 250. You hit me, you got 200, you were in debt 250 to me, pay that, and then we'll talk some more. I'm not in a hurry to get your money, But there will be times when I would tell other dudes, like, hey, Holmes, hey, does so-and-so owe you some money? Because he owes me 250 right now. And they wouldn't want to tell me who owes them what, thinking I was going to steal their customers. Meanwhile, that dude owes me 250, owes the guy I'm talking to 1,000 because he's a pig. He really thinks, oh, I got this dude for 1,000. No, you got yourself. You played yourself out of 1,000 because you know what? He owes me 250. He owes you 1,000. He owes that white dude over there 500. He owes the blacks 800. But see, nobody's communicating, and he's Mexican. He's not supposed to be buying off the blacks, so he's going to keep that a secret off the top. And next thing you know, he PCs up. Guess what? I lost $250. Old Piggy over here, he lost 1,000. He lost a bunch of dope. But there are times when dudes do that. There's dudes that come in and they have great money. A lot of guys have great money the first 3 years. It usually seems like at the third year, their families are just like, we can't do this no more. So that's why it's good when you're in there. Hey, Holmes, how long you been down, eh? Oh, I've been down fucking 5 years. Orale, all right, Holmes. And then he comes around wanting to buy dope. You got to watch him. He might have that res money, though. That's good money. In the California Department of Corrections, if somebody puts something in your ear, if they put it in your ear, it's not your job to put it in somebody else's ear. That's how you get in trouble. That's gossip. There were some places where if you got caught gossiping, they would say, take one of the chest. That's with a knife. Give him one of the chest. It's on him. It's on God if he survives it. Gossip is extremely dangerous. You guys see it in the workplace. You know, out here, people want to gossip and, you know, with their little friends at work, and, you know, you might get fired. In prison, you might die. But it isn't that hard to exist in California prisons. I talked about it in the video yesterday. If you're a Mexican and you choose to run with the Southerners, you can go to prison and do your time as long as you don't stick your nose in anybody's business. You will put in work. You will not be dead weight. That's a fact. When I was in there and I would be in, you know, my little tiny position of authority. This is before the Legends came out. Now that the Legends out, it's a different game. But when they were all slammed down, I was a little kinder. I was a hardliner, but I understood that not everybody was a killer. And so I made it a point to try to figure out, as long as this dude doesn't put me in a position to force a knife into his hand, what is his role? Because everybody has to play a role. There's no dead weight. Again, no dead weight. You are not going to take up a bunk on this yard when we could have somebody very productive in that same bunk because you choose to be a slug. You decide that you want to come onto the yard and you want to play on the handball courts that were fought over. You want to play on the basketball courts that were fought over. You want to work out on the workout bars that were fought over, but you don't want to fight. Doesn't work that way. So the guys that come in and they want to just do their time, they stay away from the politics. Politics will dictate everything they do, but they don't have to politic. There's a difference. They can come in, do their time. If there's a riot, you will participate. And more than likely, you're going to get away with your participation because everybody's going, right? But it's when you start getting comfortable, and you see this happen sometimes in there. Guys get comfortable and they start walking a little harder than they did yesterday, and everybody notices. See, because prison is full of dudes that are angry. I remember back in the days, like when I first entered the California Department of Corrections, I think there was more love, more cariño, more care amongst Southerners. You had more older dudes that were willing to sit down and answer questions and lace somebody up, especially if they saw potential in them. And I witnessed throughout the years where, you know, the old adage is true. Knowledge is power. And I started noticing dudes would get out of the shoe and they would hit yards, and whatever knowledge they had, they would keep it to themselves and form crews around themselves and manipulate the minds of younger dudes. But that's what some of the politicians were doing. California is extremely treacherous. But like I said, not everyone has to be involved in the politics. The politics dictate everything you will do, but you don't have to become one that's into enforcing politics, pushing politics, and politicking against your own. That's when things get tricky and ugly. let me bring this video to a close. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out.